Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So this is my Discord Q&A. Thank you guys so much for posting all of your questions. There was a lot of questions there. If you guys want to go follow me on Discord, the link is down below. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. I do these Q&As every single week. This one here is focusing a lot, obviously on some of the Rick stuff because that was the big news of this week, but also focusing on episode 10 and on episode 11, right? So yeah, and more than the Q&As, there's a lot of stuff to do there. There's a lot of channels there. There's a lot of, people can talk there about The Walking Dead, just in general, Fear the Walking Dead, the Rick movies, Tales of the Walking Dead. There's a lot of stuff that you can actually do here, and it's a really fun place to be. Honestly, the community is growing. We're now past 1,500 members, which is just really insane, and hopefully we can hit 2,000 really soon. I think that'd be really great. But yeah, I hope to see you guys there. But let's get into the first question here. So, what plans do you think the Commonwealth have for Alexandria? In the recent episodes, we overheard Pamela and Lance talk about a pitch. What do you think that to be? Well, obviously, what they're going to likely try and do is have as much power as they can over Alexandria, right? And so any kind of deal is going to be more of something that, and Pamela Milton knows this, it's going to be something that the people in Alexandria can't resist, right? It's basically going to be, we take over your community, you guys will adopt our law and order, and then basically you follow our rules. And you guys get all of this stuff. Like, you guys get food, you get all of these things. And I think it's going to be something that, obviously, they can't resist, because there's going to be that security with all the military around Alexandria. They'll never have to deal with anyone showing up to their gates and trying to take the place over. Like, could you imagine if the Whisperers tried to show up and take on the Commonwealth? They're going to lose immediately. So there's that level of security where it's like, yeah, we'll never have to deal with that shit again. Like, it's actually going to be fine now. But there's going to be the other aspect to it, which is they're going to lose a lot of their freedoms. And a lot of people who live in certain places, like, if you think about it, in Alexandria, everybody just lived in a house, right? Like, all the houses are pretty nice, and everyone was equal. So everyone just sort of got whatever house, and that was basically it. Well, now, based off of the Commonwealth's rules, they're going to force people out who don't deserve to be there. So there's going to be a lot of things like that. Obviously, they're going to be just, I think it's just human rights issues, right? That's stuff we're going to be dealing with. And I think that's what they're going to be trying to fight back against, right? Do you think that a three-way crossover of all spinoffs will be a good way to end the show with Rick eventually? I don't know what you mean by a three-way crossover, because World Beyond's over, and I hope we don't see those characters again. I don't think a crossover really is a good way to end the show. Like, I just think that's, just keep The Walking Dead separate. The Walking Dead is The Walking Dead. I don't think we need to unite the shows like that. Unless they want to do a big time jump and then we sort of see one of the characters from Fear at the Commonwealth, then, that's fine. But I don't really want there at this point to be a crossover. I was sort of always against the crossovers anyways, because I just always thought it took away from the show. I hated when Morgan left and when Dwight left. I still can't believe Morgan and Dwight are on Fear the Walking Dead. Bring those characters back to The Walking Dead. Could you imagine how much better The Walking Dead would be if we had Morgan and Dwight back? Man, the show already, it doesn't have a lot of the original characters, and a lot of it is because a lot of the characters have left, right? You bring Rick back, and maybe at some point you could bring Michonne back, but I don't know. I don't really see it. Morgan and Dwight, I think you probably could, but they have other plans. They want to keep them on Fear, so that's fine. But I personally wouldn't want to see it. I'm not really that big of a fan of all the crossovers. Do you think it's possible for Rick to have started a new family? He's been gone a long time, maybe longer than he knew Daryl, Carol, Michonne, and the crew. Yeah, you're right about that. I don't think he would just start a new family, though. Just because, I don't know, that's just a lot. That's a lot to just start a third family now? Maybe, but I personally don't see it. I think, where he's at, he's not in a good place. So I personally don't see that happening. Why is Rick the most memorable? Well, it's because he's literally started the show. He's the main character. He started everything, that's why. Who do you think is leading the low-class rebellion against the government of the Commonwealth, and what do you think, or what do you expect to see next from them in episode 11? On that first part, I don't know who's going to be leading it. It's probably just going to be a bunch of random people, to be honest. I think who's going to be eventually leading it is likely Rosita and Mercer. And I think that's where the tables turn, definitely, is when you actually convince them to join. And that's because there's actually a legit thing here, and you can actually fight back. And I think Mercer will only do that if he sees the opportunity to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to join these people here. Let's actually take this place down. And that's going to be such an awesome moment when that happens on the show. And that's likely going to be in this part here. It's likely going to happen here in part 2. So in terms of your next question there, like what to expect from them in episode 11, I think we're going to start to see a little bit more of the corruption there. I think you're going to have Rosita and her partner investigating what happened to Stephanie. And then you also have Connie and Kelly investigating what happened to Trooper Davis. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff they discover there on that end. And then just sort of seeing how bad the Commonwealth kind of is, right? Like they introduced how good it is, and we're still going to see some of that. But they got to start showing us like this person does this person's does this, and that's really messed up. And yeah, episode 11 is definitely going to be like more focused on that aspect. Do you think that the Commonwealth could be trading people to the CRM for resources? It could be the reason why Stephanie is missing. Yeah. Good question. I'm really happy you actually asked that, because that is sort of the idea that I have right now, is that is what happened to Stephanie. You know, I really wonder if that's where we're going with the whole thing here, is that they traded Stephanie to the CRM for more resources, because obviously the CRM want people, right? That's sort of one of the biggest things here. And that could be the biggest explanation for the Wall of the Lost. Like, what if the Wall of the Lost isn't just people that they lost beforehand, but it's people that literally just went missing randomly within the Commonwealth, and that's could be why this rebellion is forming. I think it makes a lot of sense. I was actually planning to do a video on this like much later, but you asked a question now, so I'll answer it. That's exactly what I think is happening, and I think that's what Eugene, I think that's what Connie and all of them are going to figure out, that they are giving people away. And I think that's exactly how, when the moment comes, that's exactly what it's going to be revealed. You know, Eugene and them are going to figure all that out. And I really can't wait for that. I think it makes a lot of sense, just considering the fact that, you know, like where are they getting all these resources, right? Like there's got to be a reason why they can sustain this so much. And I know a part of it is they can just kind of do it on them by themselves. But I also think, you know, with just some of the larger things in terms of just like the technology they have, right? Like they have like the tanks and stuff. And I just look at the ending of episode 10. We saw that Civic Republic soldier there. Or it wasn't a soldier, actually. It was a Civic Republic pilot. You know, people kept saying, well, no, the Civic Republic soldiers look different. Their masks are flatter. No, if you actually look at the pilots, though, the pilots look like that. So it's different. Like, there's different masks for the different ranking that you have. But I think that this is one of the deals that they have, right? Because obviously that's what they want. They want people because they want to do tests on these people. They also want people just to be a part of their community if they're very smart and intelligent people, and, you know, they can actually contribute to their community. That's why they wanted Hope, right? That's why they wanted Rick. So I could see that being a thing, and I think that's where we can learn some more Rick stuff. And yeah, I mean, I really think in the end, this is all going to make the most sense, right? I think that's sort of where we're going with all this. I mean, think about it. Like, if you look back to even to season 10, if you just think of the fact that, like, as soon as we started to see or hear Eugene talking with Stephanie, it led to this relationship, which led to them finding the Commonwealth, which led to this other Stephanie woman. And it wasn't the real Stephanie, but obviously Eugene's relationship with her was obviously very important, and then she goes missing because the Commonwealth, you know, they get the resources from the CRM. They traded her, and, you know, she could have been just an A, and so maybe they'll actually do an experiment on her, and, you know, she'll eventually become a walker or whatever. Maybe nothing will come of it, but that doesn't really matter anyways, because she's not the real woman that Eugene was talking to on the radio, right? So Eugene's still going to have his love interest with Max, but the other Stephanie dies, right? Because she's missing, and she was taken to the Commonwealth, the Civic Republic. Kelly, Connie, Eugene, Carol, all of them are going to discover all of this, and then it's going to be a big reveal that, oh shit, the CRM actually exists. There's all of this. And then I think from there, we slowly move into some of the Rick stuff. And I think that's where they can discover Rick's survival. So yeah, in a sense, I think this Stephanie storyline could be really important. And again, it's just a theory I had. And that's why I'm super glad that you answered it here, because I thought I would just kind of get into my thoughts a little bit more here. And maybe that'll be the main point of this video. I'll sort of turn this Q&A into more of a focus on that question. But I really do believe that's likely what's going to be happening here. I think that it is why Stephanie is missing. I think she was traded to the CRM, and I think that's where they're going to find out that Rick's missing. You know, it's one of those big storylines that I think that is actually going to be solved right away. But yeah, last question here: do you think we could see anything crazy like an OG character get bit and lose an arm or something? Especially Daryl and Carol being assumed safe for the spinoff. I could see major characters dying. I don't know about losing limbs. Maybe, obviously it's always possible. I just kind of feel like they're not focused on that aspect right now, right? I think right now they just want to be focused on, let's end these character stories. If this character dies, this character's going to die. But other than that, they should be fine. The characters that are going to survive are actually surviving The Walking Dead and now sort of earn their ticket to the next era of The Walking Dead with the other spinoffs, the movies, and then like the bigger universe, right? So in terms of that, I just don't see it happening, because then you would have to always do that for future shows. And then there's like budget reasons for that. So I just feel like at this point, there's no real reason to do it. And actually, this will be the last question because it's a good question. Who do you think Rick will interact with first if he does come back to the show? And oh my God, is this who does Rick first interact with when he comes back? Oh my God. Ooh, I don't even know. That's a crazy question. That's what I mean. That's how exciting Rick is. When you think about that first scene, when he locks eyes with who, right? Who does he first see when he shows up on screen? And how does it happen? Do they find out, like literally in part 2 here, that he's alive because Stephanie was sent over? Maybe they figure out, oh, Rick might have been sent over. I know they're not going to put 2 and 2 together like that, but I think what's going to happen is they're going to find out Rick's still alive, and then they're going to be like, oh shit, Rick was sent there. He was taken by them. But then they're going to be like, well, by who? And then I think Gabriel is going to be like, I saw a helicopter. Jadis knew of that helicopter. Jadis took Rick to these people. And then, you know, you're gonna close that storyline, because that's been open-ended for so long. And I think from there they're gonna try and figure out some more stuff. So I think it's gonna be them trying to find Rick. And yeah, I mean, first person to see him, I'm going to say Carol right now, just because I feel like Carol's gonna be trying to figure some stuff out here, and I think she could be the first one to find him and brings him to Daryl and Judith and all of that. So, oh my, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking of the scene. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.